friends, I'm Yoshiller, and I survived 2020. Yeah, see, it's weird. Normally in my videos, I try to provide context for any little thing that I may discuss, just in case this is a viewer's first time watching my content. But the year of 2020 was so universally terrible that I can say that I survived the year, and pretty much everyone will know what I mean. I mean, the year was so weird, I even grew a beard. I don't have the beard anymore, but that should be a testament to just how weird this past year was. But despite how awful the year was as a whole, I still feel that it is necessary to reflect back upon the year and discuss the pros and cons of it all. As is tradition with my channel, I like to take a look back at the growth of my channel, or lack thereof, and discuss the year and how it changed my content and how it may change my content going forward. So I guess without further ado, let's get started. How was 2020 and what did I learn from it? Throughout 2020, I feel as though the main theme that I took away from the year was that I should not take little victories and small opportunities for granted. During the year, I wasn't able to experience as many opportunities as I had hoped for reasons that were beyond my control. But because of that, the year of 2020 has made me more grateful for the experiences that I have had thus far. I'll often get jealous of other creators, and because I'm not all that popular anymore, I fear that I'll one day fade into obscurity. But neither of those things change the fact that, up to now, I've been able to do a lot of cool stuff. Over the years, I've done things that a younger version of myself would have only dreamed of. And that helped me to realize that 2020 wasn't completely hopeless, and that I was able to achieve a few different things despite how minor they might be. And I remember all those years ago, when I was first attending events, I treated those opportunities as if they could have been the only times I was ever able to do anything cool. As if they would be the only times I'd be able to do anything of that nature in my lifetime. It was an honor to attend those events, and I didn't know what the future would look like. And as time went on, I was actually able to attend more and more events. And don't get me wrong, I never took those events for granted. I was always appreciative, but the idea that all of that would suddenly come to a complete stop was just something I wasn't really thinking about. Now that 2020 has come along, I'm able to look back at those events with a different perspective. Who knows when, or even if, things will go back to normal, and who knows if such opportunities will ever be available to me again. But if things don't return to normal, and if such opportunities never become available to me in the future, at least I can look back at the past and not have any regrets. Or at least not have too many regrets. I got to participate in enough events without worrying about the world shutting down. After participating in so many fun events, I realized that's what I wanted to keep doing. I wanted to attend all sorts of conventions and compete in all sorts of tournaments and meet all sorts of people. And the year started off that way, and it showed true promise. I started the year by visiting Japan. It was my first time visiting another country, and I had an awesome time. And while I was there, I got to compete in Evo Japan. I got my butt kicked, but I had fun. I met awesome people, and I engaged in absolutely wonderful experiences. And then in the following month of February, I returned to Boston, Massachusetts so that I could attend PAX East 2020. And while I was there, I got to hang out with a bunch of friends, participate in a bunch of tourneys, and have a blast attending the expo. Things were looking great, but then the pandemic happened. For the rest of the year, the world was shut down due to the spread of a deadly virus. This meant that huge and public events were a no-go, as it would be far too easy to spread the virus in such a crowded area. So no more conventions, no more events, and no more tournaments. And on my end, that obviously messed up my plans for the year a lot. I was really hoping to travel with my old Yoshi hat and make a name for myself at public appearances, but alas, I wasn't really able to go anywhere. And I wasn't alone. This was a global pandemic. All my friends and family were advised to stay home, and the thousands of people that would regularly attend events that I normally attend, such as PAX West and E3, would be also unable to attend anything because, well, these events would no longer exist, so there'd be nothing to attend. And just like that, I didn't really have any opportunities to pursue or events to look forward to. But if that was the worst of my problems, then I suppose I should count myself lucky. In a weird way, knowing that we all had to deal with this situation made it a bit more tolerable. Normally I get bummed out when I feel that there's nothing I can do and as though the world is against me, but this time, when I knew that there was nothing that most people could do, that kind of made me feel a little better. In a way, I kind of got that vibe of, it's okay, we're all in this together. I hope this isn't sounding messed up. What I'm basically trying to say is, I know that I was not alone with this struggle. And I know that the pandemic affected people in a much worse way than it affected me. I'm very fortunate to be able to do what I do. And although I might not get the same viewership as I used to, that's a whole separate problem that I'll talk about later. And although I might not be able to attend events like I wanted to, the fact of the matter is that I still have opportunities available to me. They're just in different ways than I had them previously. It may be difficult for me to meet new people and make a name for myself without the use of conventions and big events, but that doesn't change the fact that I already know a ton of awesome people and that plenty of people, bigger and smaller than myself, already know who I am. People might not be actively watching my stuff anymore, and that's okay. I acknowledge that my content isn't for everyone, but the fact that so many people know who I am really means so much. I don't know who I don't know. Well, that's a weird sentence, but I'm still flattered when I learn that there are so many people out there who have heard of me and have at least watched my content once in the past. In the truest sense, you guys really do make me who I am. These days, I tend to think of myself as a nobody, but there are evidently a lot of people out there that think of me as a somebody, and that just means the world to me. I don't know, I guess the idea of people still liking me is just something that I value, and I think that the pandemic helped me realize that. It helped me realize that there are more people who value me than I originally thought. And so I had to adjust my strategies accordingly in order to work during the pandemic. Instead of spreading my name through conventions and events, I would instead spread my name by getting involved in all sorts of videos on other channels. The strategy was to get more people to know of the username of Yoshiller. I wound up editing for a variety of other content creators, including Source Gaming and Arlo, and that helped direct traffic to my channel. I also assisted in editing on the sidelines for a few other channels in an attempt to get my name out there as best as I could. As if to say, hey, the guy with the Yoshi hat is still around! And after seeing enough comments say something along the lines of, oh hey, I remember Yoshiller, and Yoshiller works here now? That made me realize that there are a lot of people that still remember the Yoshiller name. And working with all of these creators led to many fun collaborations and guest appearances. And nowhere was that more evident than in the main game that defined my channel for the year, Animal Crossing New Horizons. After Nintendo's Animal Crossing themed booth at PAX East 2020 won me over, I decided that I would play Animal Crossing New Horizons every single day and record an hour of gameplay. This would wind up being the longest series on my channel, and it was originally intended to serve as a more relaxing documentation series that showcased the growth of my island, and each recording would end with a Q&A session about myself and my channel. But the series eventually evolved into a daily excuse to just kinda goof around. Sure, I spent a fair share of days trying to accomplish a specific set of goals and Nook Miles achievements, but that was the fun of the series. I didn't exactly know how each episode was going to turn out. I might have had a general plan or a general set of plans, and sometimes I would accomplish those plans, and sometimes I wouldn't. But more importantly, Animal Crossing allowed me to play multiplayer games in ways that I kinda hadn't before. See, I hang out with my friends a lot and we'll work on stuff together and we'll just chat with one another while we work, but something about Animal Crossing allowed me to capture that casualness that we usually have together. Plus, Animal Crossing served as an excuse for me to just bond with my friends all together in a time when the world was shut down and I had no real means to communicate with most of my friends outside of conventions. Animal Crossing just filled so many gaps. And whether or not my friends and I were teaming up to accomplish a goal or were just messing around in general, I was able to capture the pure casualness and friendliness that we all have toward one another. I tend to compete in other games and I've teamed up with my friends in a variety of other circumstances, but I've rarely been able to record something so simple and straightforward. In fact, it was for those reasons that I never thought I'd be able to get into the Animal Crossing franchise, but it turned out to be just the game I needed during the pandemic. And even more so, it allowed me to record all sorts of fun videos with other creators. There are people that I've known for such a long time, but I've hardly, if ever, done videos with them. But Animal Crossing gave me the excuse to do so. As a result, Animal Crossing dominated my channel throughout 2020. I'm sure it deterred some of my subscribers away, as I imagine any 280 plus video series would, but it was important for me to commit to the series daily. That was what would help me make it stand out among all the other Animal Crossing videos on YouTube. The idea was that I was playing the game every single day for only an hour. And I figured at this point I've already burned away so many of my subscribers after taking over 2 years to complete my 100% Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild walkthrough, so at this point I figured that if I have a big idea, I may as well just go for it. After all, I wanted to ensure that I got the most out of my Animal Crossing experience, and I imagined that playing the game for an hour each day for a year would allow me to experience that. And I continued to play Animal Crossing every day, all the while doing my other work. I continued to edit for other channels on a regular basis, and I even continued to upload videos of my other gaming series, all the while playing Animal Crossing every single day. In fact, for a decent chunk of the year, I was actually uploading twice a day. One Animal Crossing video, and one regular video for my channel, whether it be a walkthrough video or an online multiplayer match. I figured that I was locked inside every day with not much else to do, so I may as well get to work. And get to work I did. Although I didn't create as many walkthroughs for the year as I had hoped, I was at least able to create something walkthrough related. I tried to go back to my basics of walkthroughing with my Sonic Rush walkthrough, which was a game that I knew I was able to complete quickly. And I knew I wanted to complete something quickly because the last series that I had created that was walkthrough related was my Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild series. So basically it was a total contrast to that. The videos were relatively short and straightforward, and I believe that they worked well against my long form Animal Crossing videos each day. So I had a short form video and a long form video each day. I figured that not all of my subscribers subscribers would care for my Animal Crossing content, so I tried my best to regularly upload other content so that I could continue to do Animal Crossing videos while also being able to do my traditional video schedule of walkthroughs on the weekdays and online multiplayer matches on the weekends. My schedule still turned out to be, well, we'll just say all over the place, but at least I was still creating a variety of content. My Sonic Rush walkthrough allowed me to experiment with different visual layouts as well, and it allowed me to edit something more traditional. That worked out, but as time went on, I was still craving to edit some more analysis-like and editorial-type content. Sure, I was already doing that for other channels, but I wanted to do it for myself too. I wanted to do some sort of scripted content where I talked about random stuff and edited clips accordingly. And that's where my Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Road to Sakurai and Pokemon Bata series came into play. Although I only wound up making a handful of Road to Sakurai videos in 2020, each one detailed a different topic that I feel was integral to the growth and development of the series. And some episodes of my Pokemon Bata series allowed me to tell stories and provide insight as to how I obtained certain Pokemon, and it allowed me to explain why I choose to compete with them. I didn't do this for every episode, and I still only plan to do this every once in a while, but it appears that the episodes for which I did provide these little editorial type introductions went over pretty well. But let's focus on each series individually for a moment. Road to Sakurai certainly had its ups and downs. The pandemic certainly served as a major roadblock for the series over the course of the year, as the series was supposed to document my endeavor into the competitive scene with the game, and I was regularly attending local tourneys in hopes of furthering my skills as a competitor. But now that I can no longer attend local tourneys, I had to resort to online play exclusively if I wanted to continue practicing and competing. And that's a pretty miserable way to have to continue playing the game. Don't get me wrong, I actually like playing online most of the time. I've had more good experiences than I've had bad experiences, but the thing that makes me upset isn't the lag that I get every once in a while. I've had tons of laggy matches, but I often find it to be tolerable enough. No, the thing that makes the online experience so rough is the plethora of salty and rude players. Some days it often feels like some people just don't want to play. But I want to play, I want to practice. Even if I lose, I want to keep playing. But when it comes to online, a lot of players don't have that same mindset, and players are much less friendly and much less understanding. Suffice to say, I definitely miss local tourneys. I've already made an entire episode of my Road to Sakurai series about this topic, so I don't want to repeat too many thoughts here, but basically, I realized that I just have to suck it up and deal with it if I want to continue competing. Fortunately, it wasn't all doom and gloom for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate in 2020. We got some new characters, and one of them actually wound up becoming one of my mains. That character was Min Min, a character I didn't even know I wanted in Super Smash Bros. Yeah, I used her back when I played ARMS, and then she made it into Smash, so it only felt natural that I try playing as her, and yeah, I love her playstyle. It's obnoxious and cheap, and that's easy for me to understand. I didn't expect to regularly be playing as a new character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate in 2020. Sure, I was excited for new characters, but I was already content with the 4 characters I was already maining. But sure enough, Min Min came along, and I never would have guessed that I'd drop one of my mains in place of a new one, but here we are. And then on top of that, I entered a couple of different online tourneys in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and my results haven't been great. There have been a fair share of frustrating moments while I've been competing, but the big takeaway is that maybe I'm actually kind of decent at the game sometimes? Question mark? Look, I haven't won any major tourneys. In fact, I don't usually make it that far in them, but I did place well in some of the smaller events that I entered. In fact, the biggest tourney that I entered was one of Nintendo's official tourneys, which is one of those ones where you play as many matches as you can in 3 hours, and the players with the best win-loss ratio advance to the finals. Out of thousands of players, I got 34th place. Sadly, only the top 32 got to advance, but the idea that I was so close is still worth bragging about to me. And as a whole, after watching some of my Smash footage for this video, I actually do feel as though I've improved as a player. Even if I haven't improved by much, and even if I still continue to make stupid mistakes and feel clueless in some situations, I still feel that I'm performing some tactics and setting up some combos that I was never doing a year ago. My matches are starting to look a bit more intense these days, and not only does that lend itself to some better looking gameplay, especially for videos like this, but it also makes me feel a bit more confident as a player too. Even when I lose in some of these more intense matches, at least I can give a traditional grunt like, "Ah!" or "Ugh," and then have a smile on my face afterward after a game well played. I don't know if I'm better suited to play online matches rather than offline matches or what, but I've played some fairly intense matches and often held my ground. I don't want to toot my own horn too much, as I know I'll still get bodied by numerous players out there, but I don't think I'm a slouch either. I think I can hold my ground against a fair share of matchups. Now, enough about Smash, let's talk about Pokemon. With regards to Pokemon, my Pokemon Bata series was never super successful, and it's not really all that much more than a series where I battle against players with the Pokemon that I've obtained from my walkthroughs over the years. However, I've done Pokemon Bata on my channel in the past with previous Pokemon games, and those videos at least allow me to experiment with different visual layouts. I don't have visual layouts for this iteration of Pokemon Bata because I don't really feel like they're necessary, so I did feel a bit of an itch to try something new with this series. Otherwise, it was just me playing competitive matches. Plenty of people upload competitive Pokemon matches, so what would help me stand out? Well, I figured my advantage was using my niche in uncommon Pokemon, and I really wanted to highlight that aspect. So for some episodes, I explained my strategies for certain Pokemon beforehand, and I experimented with different visual styles. And this served as a nice excuse to sometimes write other editorial type content outside of my Road to Sakurai series. And little did I know, or little would I know, little did I know at the time, little would I know, I actually wound up adding an additional Pokemon to my team. A shiny Alcremie that I won when I attended PAX East 2020. Her nickname is Devil's Food, and she was quickly able to become one of my favorite and most useful Pokemon. And so I was able to create an episode of Pokemon Bata explaining why I'd be adding her to the team, and the episode went over pretty well. And that was further benefited by the fact that the following episode was met with positive reception too, thanks to Alcremie barely surviving a hit, and then proceeding to take out one of the most powerful Pokemon in the game at the time. It was just a testament to how useful this Pokemon would be on my team and how creative I could be with my strategies. In short, this Alcremie just fit in. She isn't super overpowered like some sort of legendary Pokemon, and she has a special form that isn't all too common. I have the red flower one. And she was the Pokemon that I won. So thanks to Devil's Food, my Pokemon Bata series was changed forever. I went on to record all sorts of ridiculous and close battles, and every once in a while I told a story about one of my Pokemon and analyzed a strategy that I wanted to try. And the general consensus was that people liked it. Just as long as I didn't do these editorial type things all the time, people still just wanted to watch the battles. But hey, that's fine with me. And while I'm talking about competing, let's discuss Splatoon 2. It's not a game that I've ever competed in the traditional sense, as I've never entered a Splatoon 2 tournament, but I did set out to reach Rank X within the game. Rank X is the highest possible rank that a player can get, and only about 1% of all Splatoon 2 players in the world have it. You have to win a minimum of 100 matches as an S+ player to even have a chance of getting into the rank in the first place. Because I adore Splatoon 2 so much, I set a goal of trying to reach X rank in my favorite game mode, Tower Control. Over the course of a few months, I faced many challenging opponents, played during some ridiculous time slots that I could participate in my preferred game mode, and endured many frustrating problems, like my Nintendo Switch randomly overheating. And eventually, I did it! I reached X rank! I, some random Splatoon 2 player who uses a splat roller and hardly ever competes in the game and just uses whatever equipment I see fit, joined the top 1% of players in the game. Perhaps it's not the most impressive achievement, as anyone with enough hours and patience could probably achieve this, and I have a few friends that are X-rank in other game modes, but I still find this to be an admirable achievement all the same. I set out to conquer one of the hardest challenges the game had to offer, and I did it. And the challenge allowed me to record additional Splatoon content for my channel, and that was nice. I thought it would only take a couple videos to achieve this goal, but then it wound up taking more than a dozen, but hey, more content on my channel is more content. And I wanted to document the frustrations that came about whenever my Switch would overheat or whenever I'd have to find a random game time to play Tower Control in the first place. I mean, come on, it's only available for 2 hours a day sometimes? Ugh. Anywho, the other main multiplayer on my game for the year was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I was able to record a few friend rooms here and there, thankfully, and I managed to get second place at the PAX East 2020 tournament. But aside from an official Nintendo tourney at the beginning of the year, I don't really compete in this game. With that said, I was at least able to record a few videos of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is better than I can say for years prior. And I'm very thankful that I was able to record a fair share of multiplayer sessions too. And the tourney-themed video that I uploaded at the beginning of the year was at least a little something different. I always want to put out more Mario Kart content, as I love the game, but it's often hard to find enough players to fill a friend room, and I don't want to just do random sessions where I play by myself from time to time. I usually want there to be some sort of end goal. With that said, I'll still upload random sessions from time to time. I just don't want to do it too frequently because then I feel like people will get burned out from the series. Despite this, I was still able to put out quite a variety of Mario Kart videos, including an Animal Crossing themed friend room, an anniversary video, and a battle session with friends. So I'll definitely take those. The only other major tourney I entered for the year also took place at PAX East 2020. I was part of the PAX East Stream All-Stars tourney, where I had to play Soul Calibur 6. It may not have been a super major event, but I was honored to be a part of it. I'm not a huge Soul Calibur player, but I figured I was invited to this event, so I may as well compete. And I had fun, and I even got 4th place. I don't really have too much else to add here, but hey, it was a highlight of my year. So I was able to walk away from PAX East 2020 with a 4th place medal, a PAX East goodie box, and a shiny Alcremie for my Pokemon series. series. It was one of the last events I attended before the world shut down, and I gotta say, I think I made out pretty well. And that basically leaves me with only one video series of mine that I have yet to discuss for this video. My Whatever Wednesday series. Originally, the point of my Whatever Wednesday videos was to provide a change of content for my viewers who were uninterested in the regular walkthrough videos that I was putting out. On top of that, the goal was to create a Whatever Wednesday video every week. That originally proved to be a simple task, as a Whatever Wednesday video could be whatever I wanted. That was the whole point. Now, most of my Whatever Wednesday videos wound up being simple multiplayer videos, but the Whatever Wednesday video series also allowed me to experiment with more analysis videos and gameplay showcases. And throughout 2020, I actually uploaded quite a few Whatever Wednesday videos that fit these styles. None of them were analysis videos or editorials, but at the very least, I was able to create videos for games that I may not have otherwise showcased on my channel. And once again, the Whatever Wednesday playlist allowed me to experiment with some other video styles that I hadn't done on my channel prior. I rarely ever do unboxing videos or shopping spree videos, but I was able to do that in 2020. I made more Whatever Wednesday videos in 2020 than I did in 2019, but I'm still hardly putting out Whatever Wednesday content these days. And there's a few reasons for that. The first, well, I was already putting out 2 videos a day, and some of these videos already required a lot of planning, such as my multiplayer Animal Crossing videos or some of my Pokemon Todd videos with editorial type intros. I had to plan my schedule accordingly, and sometimes it just made it difficult to get Whatever Wednesday content recorded. So the idea of scheduling a separate time to record a completely different game, or perhaps just a completely different style of video altogether, was often not doable. There are more analysis videos that I want to create for this playlist, and I imagine that there will be plenty more gameplay showcases over the course of the year, but I still want to make videos for this playlist regardless. Perhaps once my Animal Crossing series comes to a close, more Whatever Wednesday videos will start appearing on my channel, but there's also one other reason why the frequency of these videos started to slow down. See, I wanted to do something special for my 150th video of my Whatever Wednesday series. I like celebrating those big numbers, and I had an ambitious video that I wanted to create, and it was going to take months to do it. I started planning it when I had about 140 Whatever Wednesday videos done, so I tried to pace myself so that the 150th Whatever Wednesday video could just be uploaded naturally, but as time went on, I was presented enough opportunities to record new games and record multiplayer modes in other games that those videos just started going out regularly instead. And before I knew it, I had uploaded 149 Whatever Wednesday videos in such a short amount of time, and I only had about 1% of my special 150th Whatever Wednesday video completed, and, well, I was just gonna hold off on the special 150th Whatever Wednesday video until it was completed, but then more opportunities just kept coming up. Nintendo announced Super Mario 35, and then Nintendo offered me part-time UFO, and then Sega offered me Puyo Puyo Tetris 2, and I just figured it was more important to me to take up those opportunities and try out different content for my channel than to sit back and wait for this 150th video to be done instead. Can you imagine? Nintendo and Sega offer me games and I say, sorry, I can't play those games, I'm busy working on one video. I don't like having to do that. So with all of that said, will this special 150th video ever come to fruition? At this point, I'm not so sure. But if it ever does get uploaded, then I hope you'll all understand why it took so long to make it. And when the video does go out, you'll probably know which video was supposed to be the special 150th one. In any case, my special 150th Whatever Wednesday video wasn't the only one to get delayed this year. I also had a special Dragon Quest Builders 2 video set to air at one point. And although production on it started, well, a similar thing happened. Other opportunities came up and I took up those instead, and the Dragon Quest Builders 2 video just kept getting pushed to the sidelines. But one day this video will be completed. I can at least say that with certainty. At least in this instance, I already have all the footage for it. It's just a matter of finally sitting down and finishing it up. It might be what I work on next after this video. We'll see. But aside from these 2 Whatever Wednesday videos, this was not the only place where I dropped the ball. I was also planning on making a 12-year anniversary video. Normally I make anniversary videos, and I made a 10-year anniversary video some time ago, but I never made an 11-year anniversary video. So I figured that I really should make a 12-year anniversary video, as I don't want to miss my anniversary 2 years in a row. And the thumbnail was completed, and the video still never came out. This is a real shame, because the anniversary of my channel is actually in June, and I'm usually too late to make a video on my actual anniversary because E3 happens around the same time. But E3 didn't happen this year, so I didn't really have much of an excuse for missing the anniversary. And in the past, my anniversary videos have been late, often a month or 2 late, but at least I get them out. But even then, I still just never got around to making my anniversary video in 2020. It's nobody's fault but mine, really. I took up too much work. I guess it's a good problem to have, but that brings me to my next point. I probably bit off more than I could chew this past year. With that said, I'm still pulling through and I'm still doing a ton of work, but editing for a bunch of other channels, some of which require more editing than my regularly uploaded content, and then also trying to do 2 videos a day on my own channel, resulted in quite the exhausting year with little reward. I want to make it clear, I'm not bad-mouthing the channels that I edit for, and I'm not upset with the progress that I've made. I'm just saying that for the amount of work that I do, some people might argue that it's not really worth it. But you know, I wouldn't say I regret taking on all of this extra work, as plenty of good still came out of it. It was all a learning opportunity, and it was a great experience to be able to work with some other creators. But that doesn't change the fact that some of my other plans were still canceled. I had plans to make a walkthrough for Pikmin 3 Deluxe, and while I did have some videos of the game ready to go, I just never uploaded them. And I did a sudden walkthrough for Kirby Fighters 2. I didn't know that game was going to come out. It did, I was excited, and I did a walkthrough for it. And while I did complete that walkthrough, it took much longer to complete than it probably should have. Yeah, suddenly doing a walkthrough for a game when my schedule was already jam-packed probably wasn't a great idea. I thought the game would be quick, and it technically is quick to beat, but to 100% complete it, that takes a while. And the game is tough. But I did it! So yeah, I did another walkthrough for my channel in 2020. It wasn't one that I had ever planned until the day the game came out, but I did it! But Kirby Fighters 2, for as much as I enjoyed the game, probably was more trouble than it was worth. And then throughout the year, I faced a fair share of other problems that ate up my time. My Nintendo Switch had overheating problems, which definitely hindered and even ruined some of my recording sessions. My Pro Controller has sadly started to develop what many call Joy-Con drift, and so it's hardly usable now. More intensive games such as Super Smash Bros. And Splatoon 2 just are not playable with it. And then some more personal things happened, such as someone stealing my car and me needing surgery on my face, but I try not to bring up that stuff if it doesn't directly impact my production schedule, and well, it did impact my production schedule. I needed to devote additional time to these things, and on top of the busy schedule that I already had, I just stretched myself too thin at times. So 2020 was a busy year, and yeah, it was rough. And all this did wind up setting me back even further. Pikmin 3 Deluxe was the only walkthrough I guess I would say got canceled before it even started, but then there were other walkthroughs that just started super late. For instance, I was gonna try and record a walkthrough for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity as soon as possible. And I did start the walkthrough, and I'm still working on it. But that's the issue. I'm still working on it. I probably should consider it a lost cause at this point, as the popularity for the game is probably only going to drop from this point onward, but I still want to complete it. I like Hyrule Warriors. I want to complete it, and I want to record myself completing it. And I figure, once again, my schedule should open up a lot more once my Animal Crossing series comes to a close in a few months. So I'm behind. Really behind. Again, nobody's fault but my own. But I like keeping busy. I like knowing that I have multiple projects I can work on. I don't know if my viewers will always be interested in them, but at least I know that I know what I want to work on next. But the main word of this video has been opportunities. And throughout the year, I tried to take up any opportunities I could. Any opportunities to work with a new creator, any opportunities to try something new for my channel, and any opportunities just to do something, experience something, even when the world was shut down. Sure, I became busy and fell behind on my work, and sure, I lost viewership, but if that's the worst that happened given the circumstances, I'm really glad that I took up the opportunities that I could take up. But at this point, my viewership is already too far gone that I may as well just commit to any sort of ridiculous idea that I already have, right? I mean, the solution is simple if I want to get my views back, isn't it? I could just play the latest and greatest games. That'd be fun and all, and I still tend to do that when certain new games come out. But it's still important to me that I play the games that I want to play. Not just because they're new, but because they interest me. I imagine in due time, with enough persistency, my viewership could come back. I'd rather work with these creators now, get viewers over to my channel over the course of time, and enjoy what I'm doing every time, rather than just chase trends. And I still want to play older games like Sonic Rush, and I still want to play newer games like Kirby Fighters 2, but I want to be able to play them both, not just the newer one, because I like both of these games. And then for other videos, I want to be able to play something as random as Fortune Street and create something as spontaneous as a spending spree video, because I want to do them. I mean, that's the dream, right? Anyone wants to be able to upload anything and get positive reception and high viewership without any consequences. Anyone can tell you they want to be able to upload whatever they want and have it be just as successful as anything else they upload. And really, I shouldn't be too concerned about views in the end. It's just discouraging to see my numbers consistently drop. I'm thankful that at least a couple of my videos got a traditional amount of views in 2020, but wow. Every time I think that my average viewership can't get any lower, it does. But views, is that all I care about? Well, no. Views are a good way to monitor which videos I should continue to do. Views do matter, but I can't be blindly distracted by them. I'm trying to find the balance between pursuing opportunities that interest me and doing the things that'll maintain a steady channel for myself. I want my views to go back up, and I totally acknowledge that my Animal Crossing series might have been a terrible idea in hindsight, but I'm still very glad that I did my Animal Crossing series, and I'm still very glad that I got to work with so many people. A drop in viewership is totally worth it for me, and a drop in viewership is totally worth it for me to continue pursuing other opportunities too. Because I still plan to go through with my current video lineup, and because I still plan to commit to projects I've already started, I guess I'll just have to hope that more people discover my channel and stick around because they like what I'm putting out. Maybe some big company or another big channel may notice me. If I just work hard enough, maybe a great enough reward will come out of it eventually. And perhaps the next big opportunity for me is out there, but the person or group that will present it to me is just someone I haven't met yet. At least that's what I hope. I'm trying to remain optimistic, and I'll see if that gets me anywhere. And so, because my original 2020 plans didn't go as I had intended, I'm ready for my 2021 plans to not go as I intend as well. I wanted to travel and search for new opportunities throughout the year, but instead I wound up staying home and I just took up a lot of work. Originally, I had plans for 2021 to be the year where I potentially pursued some new ideas. Maybe I wouldn't make videos at all, but considering the fact that the future is now more uncertain than ever, I think it is best for me to try and find my footing first. And by that I mean I should try to continue what I've been doing, wait for things to try and go back to normal, and see if any opportunities arise. But that was basically the 2020 plan that I had. So I feel as though the smartest play that I can make in 2021 is just to try and finish what I wanted to do in 2020. I don't know when or even if things will go back to normal this year. Even if the pandemic ends sooner than we all expect, it's still gonna take a long time for things to just feel normal again. Look, I know I'm basically starving for another convention or event. Looking back at them has made me appreciate them so much, I just miss them. I really want things to go back to how they were. But for now, the key thing I must have is patience. Conventions have always helped me grow my channel, and of course them being absent is a huge blow to the growth of my channel, but as I've established throughout this video, there are other things I can do. It's not game over yet. So, my plan for 2021 is simple, really. Keep editing, finish the projects I've started, and pursue opportunities as I see them. If things never return to normal, then I at least can say that I was able to participate in so many amazing experiences before the world shut down. And if things do return back to normal, then I hope that new opportunities may present themselves to me and that I can continue to pay all of you guys back for your support. I might not be able to always express it with words, but your support really does drive me forward, and it means more to me than you could ever know. And I hope that those of you that have supported me up to this point will now continue to support me as I move forward. With that in mind, let's see if 2021 is a year of new opportunities.